Marriage, a show where we examine modern marriage from every angle, including our own relationship. I'm Allison Raskin. I'm a New York Times bestselling author, relationship coach, and mental health advocate who got my husband, John Blakesley, to do this show with me.
And I'm John Blakesley, author of Wrong Man for the Job at Substack, a policy researcher, and the father to a dog who has a crazy haircut. I mean, look at Phantom. His face is completely shaved.
Yeah, if you're just listening to the audio version of this, you can check out Phantom's hatchet job of a haircut on youtube.com/justbetweenus. Look, here's what happened. Phantom has severe nerve pain on the left side of his face, which makes it very difficult for groomers to ever give him a proper haircut. And all the time, his hair is in his eyes, his hair is in his mouth, which I think aggravates the nerve pain. And he had a horrible eye ulcer this past week, and they were going to sedate him anyway because they needed to do some eye tests, and there was no way he was going to let them do that while they had to touch his face and he was awake. And I said, hey, if he's going down, could you shave that bad boy? Could you really just cut to the skin?
And so they shaved his face, but just stopped really abruptly.
In the middle of his head.
And so he looks nuts.
He looks bananas. It's aged him 10 years.
Yeah.
But I think he feels rather comfortable because now the eye is not being irritated by the hair. The mouth isn't being irritated. I think this is his new look.
No, it's not his new look.
Well, speaking of something we disagree on, we have a very simpatico episode for everyone today because we're going to be talking about, wait, just hold on, I'm getting there. Because we're going to be talking about compatibility. And simpatico came up as a synonym for compatibility when I Googled it.
Right. But you introduced it with
right. I messed that
how
up.
We're going to disagree. Okay.
Well, I said, speaking of disagreements, I could have said like on the opposite of a disagreement.
Yeah. Right. That transition would have made a little more sense.
We're going to try to get to the bottom of like how similar do you need to be to your partner? What are all the ways that John and I are similar? What are all the ways that we're different? And, how do you know if like you have enough that in common or that is simpatico for a relationship to work?
Right.
But before all of that, my dear.
You've never called me your dear before.
Yeah, we've never shared our sweet name. What are the names for each other?
Pet names.
Our pet names for each other. So my go-to pet name for you is?
Honey Bear?
Yeah, why'd you say it with such hesitation?
I just panicked for a minute.
Did you think it was something else?
Yes.
What did you
No.
think it was?
No. I thought it was that, but I don't know. I just panicked.
Okay, yeah. It's Honey Bear.
And you're
often shortened to Honey.
Yes, and you're Sweetie Pie and often shortened to Sweetie.
Yeah. But Sweetie Pie is my preferred term of endearment.
You're also demanding.
We've never said babe or baby ever.
I know, and on previous relationships I did. Now I'm weirded out by it.
It gives me the ick. And yeah. I'm sure a lot of you listening are like, Honey Bear gives me the ick.
Right.
But for whatever reason, I find it more delightful.
Well, you love animals.
I do.
There you go.
But before we get, into all the ways that we're different and similar, we have got to do everyone's favorite segment of the show. Marriage moment, TM, da. That's okay.
Yes. No, I think it's pretty good. I think
feel
it's
like
solid.
I've been blowing it lately,
yeah,
and I'm feeling a lot of pressure.
I gotta tell you, I feel like you did great for a while. Like
what do you like?
The sci-fi one was so cool. When you're like, and then ever since then, I feel like I thought you were going to get more creative with it.
Oh, okay.
And now you've just kind of gone back to the regular jingle, and it feels like you're not evolving as an artiste.
Okay, can I go again?
Okay.
Marriage moment, TM.
It's not good, but it's interesting. You're evolving as an artist. Very cool.
That's like everyone's response to all of my work. It's not good, but it's interesting. The #1 rated Goodreads review for all of my books. Okay. So this marriage moment for me this week is not just one moment, but a series of things that you do for me, a series of moments.
Wow.
Which we might have briefly touched on the show, but I get really bored in the shower.
Yeah.
And I love to have some stimulation in the shower, which is,
Ooh.
well, okay,
Tell me.
mental stimulation in the shower, which is like, when I was younger, I would read in the shower and I would ruin books.
Right. Really weird behavior. Really concerning behavior.
I would like set the book up on like where you
horror movie behavior. Just like a little child reading a book that's completely sopping wet. I must get to the next page.
No, I'd set it. I wouldn't hold it in my hands. I had stuff to do. I'd put it like where the products were, right? Like in like a shelf or whatever, and I'd set it up with the shampoo holding this page up and the conditioner holding that page up. But so and sometimes my mom would read to me, when I was in the shower as well, when I wanted to have entertainment. But anyway, so something that you do for me very kindly is that you will ask me trivia questions.
Yeah, you always want trivia.
I want trivia when I'm in the shower.
Not to talk to me, not to connect, no other type of stimulation.
We're connecting all day.
You want me to read you trivia.
But one of the days was very fun because you just made up the questions.
Yes.
You just did it based on your vast knowledge of things. And I thought, like, very few people would be able to create their own trivia questions.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. I tried one day, remember, and I had like 2, and you knew the answer to both.
You thought you nailed me on one. You're like, he's never going to know this one.
What was it?
The answer was the Overton window.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no, I said, what is the Overton window?
Right, and then I explained it to you.
I had recently learned about it. So I was just, it's a moment that both shows your care for me and also your vast intelligence.
Wow. Mine's going to sound so dumb after this.
Oh, no.
I can't believe how stupid mine is. Mine is one time
Oh, no.
Alice and I were just kind of hanging out, and I think she took a tomato, like a big ripe tomato,
Yeah.
and she just threw it to me across the house. And then we must have spent like 5 minutes going farther and farther and trying to throw this tomato. Because there's like a part of our house is like very long.
Yeah, because our living room goes into our dining room, goes into our kitchen.
Right, so it's all straight line. So it's like, how far can you throw this ripe tomato and we can catch it? And we did this for like a few minutes, going farther and farther and farther.
It was a risky game.
It was until the tomato did fall and burst.
Yeah, it got too mushy.
Yeah. It was over. Yeah.
We talk about that a lot. That was a fun day.
That was a fun day when we threw that tomato. But now we've kind of gotten to this thing where sometimes we just throw fruit in the house.
Right. I can't recommend playing catch enough to keep your marriage alive. It's so delightful to play catch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you don't think to do. You think it's a big production. I got to get a mitt. I got to get a baseball. I got to go outside. No, you can play catch indoors.
Banana.
Yeah. Remember that one time when we were with my nieces, you and my youngest niece were just throwing a raggedy piece of paper around for a solid hour.
This girl has like thousands of dollars of toys and fancy products and stuff like that. And really all she needed was like a tissue.
Yeah.
And she could have a tissue and her uncle. And it was like, here's 45 minutes of just pure bliss.
We also have a very lovely listener submitted marriage moment this week that I shall now share. Our listener writes, earlier this year, okay, it starts off bad, but everyone's okay in the end, I should warn. Okay. Earlier this year, I had a blood clot in the artery of my right leg.
Sorry. I just wasn't ready for that. Okay.
Not a normal 32-year-old problem, and totally unexpected. And as an American living here on a work visa, I have never navigated the Canadian healthcare system. After my husband convinced me to go to the hospital, I refused to go for 5 days because I was not going to be told by a doctor I just had a sore muscle and I just needed to rest it. I discovered my health card, the magical card that says you live in Canada and makes all healthcare free, was expired. Oh, what a dream.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
Oh my God. Not even 6 hours after I got to the hospital, I went in for surgery, and there was no time to handle fixing my health card situation. So as I sat in my hospital bed, I watched the total cost tick up and up. internally panicking about what I could do. My very, very sweet husband, not knowing what to do either, found the phone number for the Minister of Health in Ontario.
This is amazing.
Which, with little to no knowledge of the Canadian government, I can only imagine is like trying to call the health secretary. He somehow explained my situation to their admin and got special approval to renew my card for me. Not only did he find truly the most dramatic way to do this, calling government officials, but also he went to the Canadian equivalent to the DMV/Secretary of State and waited for hours to get it renewed for me. The relief of seeing the $14K a day I would have paid for my hospital recovery disappear is unmatched, and I think I have told every person I have met about this since it happened.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like your most romantic moment. Like,
for me,
you, like
yeah.
if you were in her position,
Absolutely.
This would be like
That's what romance
the height
is,
of romance,
baby.
like
Yeah.
taking care of you,
Yes. Saving me money.
saving you money, getting a deal, yeah. Making a political point about healthcare. Like this is just like designed
It's catnip.
to make you happy.
Yeah. This is like they should put a book, if they were to write a book of fantasies for women like me, this should be a chapter.
Yeah, this would be your fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really good job. You got a great one.
Yeah.
And also way to go, Minister of Health.
Right?
It's time to pop the question. This is the part of the show where we dive deep into the main episode topic, and we are not being joined by guests today because we are going to laser in on each other and share all of the ways that we're similar and different, and if you think in your heart we're compatible as a couple.
Okay.
Imagine if you're like, not really.
Yeah, I think this is over.
Like when you think about us, do you think that we're more similar or more different?
I think that we're more similar.
Okay.
I
That's
feel like
a good start.
You think we're more different? More like an odd couple?
No, I don't. I don't think we're like a traditional, like, off the rails odd couple who's like totally. I think we have some significant differences.
Name
though.
one.
Well, like I like to plan for things, and
Right.
you're more of a go by the seat of your pants kind of guy.
Absolutely. But you know what? I was thinking about this because that's true in like a lot of different regards. But then like for certain work things, like I hyper prep.
Yeah, and I don't prepare
And you don't
at all.
prepare at all. So what's that about?
I don't know.
It's like when I like go on like general meetings, like I like knew their slate. I came in with things to pitch. Like you just kind of like showed up and was like, what's
I was
up?
like, who are you?
Right.
What does this company do? And you know what? We both got the same results, which was nothing.
Nothing.
Came out of any of it.
So in so the fly by the seat of your pants approach in that one
Yeah.
was actually way better. Because I
Yes.
never got anything that I got in this industry from a general meeting, I don't think.
I got one thing one time where I had a general and she had already listened to my gossip podcast, which is a scripted podcast I did. And she was like, let's adapt this into a TV show. And I was like, okay. And then I got an IFCOM deal from that general.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That was my only success. And in no way had I prepared for it. But also she had happened to have listened to the show already.
Right. I had an experience early on in my career where I didn't prepare for a meeting and I looked foolish. Like I thought it was just a conversation, and I realized that actually they had read a script of mine and they wanted me to like tell them like how the rest of the season went, and like I was not prepared for that.
Well, I'm prepared for pitches.
But I wasn't
yeah.
aware that that's what this was.
Right.
I thought we were just literally having a general, and
That's confusing.
and so yeah, I don't know. But anyway,
Anywho, here's another big difference we have around parking.
oh my God. Well, you're really lucky to be married to me, the parking king of the west side of Los Angeles.
I
The
take
chosen
what I
one.
can get. I'm willing to park a few blocks away if I
A
know.
few blocks. Allison one time wanted to park a mile away. A mile away from the place, from the restaurant. She's like, right there. I'm like, it's still so far.
Because what if there was nothing better?
There's always something better.
Well, you just get very lucky. I almost feel like if there is like, mischievous elves involved in our lives.
There are.
Yeah,
I've told you
like
about
that.
them.
Like one of the things they do is they always make you get really lucky with parking spots, mostly to piss me off.
Well, I just feel like why not go for the absolute perfect spot? And on your way, maybe you'll get a spot that's close. Sometimes we literally have gotten like a spot right in front of the restaurant.
And that inflates your head.
It makes me so happy. It's unbelievable.
Well, that's another big that sort of is emblematic of a bigger difference between us, which is I think you are much more of an optimist.
Yeah.
And I'm I don't want to say a pessimist. I'm a realist.
Oh my God. It's what your mother
That's
said.
what my mom would say. I know. She was a pessimist.
She was a pessimist. She's like, I'm a realist, and nothing is going to ever work out. It's like, I don't know if you're. I think you might be a pessimist.
I don't think I'm as pessimistic as her.
No, but you are.
Like, yeah, like I and I think that that's partly because of the career that I've had.
Uh-huh.
Like, I had to just, like, the moment that I tried to get something, just, like, walk away from it and assume that it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah.
Because if I had, like, kept my hopes up around all these different things, it would have just, like, been, like, devastating. And so I've sort of, like, developed this belief system that, like, things aren't going to work out.
Well, I think it's like a protection mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, you'll be like, it's not going to work out. Nothing is going well. What I just think that sometimes, like, the optimism, I'm going to sound like such a dope, but, like, I think sometimes being optimistic about things is actually, like, I don't believe in, like, magical thinking where it's like, you know, like, oh, if you have a good attitude, things will, you know, work out. But I think that, like, having good attitude in, like, projects or certain things, like, does, like, people tend to, like, want to work with you again because they like being around positive people, and, like, you at least are living in a positive mental headspace during it, even if it doesn't work out. I mean, not that I've, like, taken a lot of this, like, you know, I am super anxious about a lot of my projects, but compared to you, I'm, like, so optimistic.
Well, I think back often to this moment in couples therapy that we had that I think we've discussed before, where, like, you know, I was sharing that, like, I would worry about things and you would just tell me everything would be fine. And,
Yeah.
you know, our incredible therapist was like, you know, that can be, like, lonely
Right.
to, like, be the only one, like, kind of, like, carrying the weight of, like, worry that things might not work out. And so, like, to actually, like, to meet me a little in the middle
Yeah.
more. And I think that, like, that's a framework that I think is really helpful for couples like us because, you know, if I have, like, a real concern about something and just to be told, like, it'll be fine. It's like, that just, like, it makes it me carry it alone, and then also makes me feel like you aren't taking me seriously.
Right.
And, like, or that we're just, like, living in, like, such different worlds.
Right.
And I think, like, that feeling of, like, we are just experiencing the world so differently can be really harmful to a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I have to remind myself of that probably more often. Because sometimes I'm just like, you're worried about things that I don't think are a big deal at all.
Yeah.
You know?
And they're
like,
not.
And I'm just like, well, it'll be totally fine. Or, like, you'll be like, we're going to the hotel. Did we confirm the reservation or something? I'm like, I have this printout. Or, like, I don't know. Or, like, you'll be, like, worried about things that are like, well, they have to honor the reservation. So it's fine.
And that's anxiety thoughts, right? But then there's also, like, real stuff too.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably difficult for you because I have anxiety to distinguish between
Right.
like valid concerns that I'm having and, like, just my bananas anxiety spirals that, like, shouldn't really be given much attention.
That's such a good point, because it's like I'm paring back. Like, I don't want to make it seem like you're always doing this all day, every day, but I have to parry back, like, enough of your, like, kind of irrational worries about things. Like, when we leave the house and you're like, do you think the dogs are going to be okay? Like, you think they're all right? And it's like, we leave the house, like, constantly. The dogs are totally fine. They even have a little routine when we leave of where they go in the house and chill. Like they're fine. And we have to be able to leave our house. And so I'm paring back stuff like that are, like, kind of irrational thoughts that when the bigger stuff comes up, I probably just have, like, a knee-jerk reaction a lot of the time to, like, this is how I respond to this. When they're more serious matters, like, taking seriously your anxiety or concern is, like merited.
No, it's a tricky thing
Yeah.
to navigate. And it's tricky for me too, like, right, sometimes, right? It's like, how, like, is this valid? Like,
Yeah.
even like dealing with like some of like Phantom's health stuff, like how concerned should we be? Like,
Yeah.
it's nebulous and
Yeah.
it's like confusing. But I think we often do a really good job of like alternating who is down.
Yeah.
Like, one of us can normally like rally when the other person's like having a spiral or a bad day, and it's very rare that we're both in a really bad place at the same time,
Yeah, I agree with that.
which I think is really helpful.
Yeah.
When I think about compatibility, it's like often in the framework of like, are there inherent things about you that just causes more friction?
Mm.
So is this a thing that is an issue because of who the two of you are? Whereas like if you were with someone different, would there not be friction there?
Okay, so give me an example of like how we would be incompatible if I were different, or
So like, for example, if it was like really important to you that you went out drinking until midnight every weekend,
yeah.
and that's what you wanted to do with your weekends,
Yeah.
and I wanted to go to bed early and not go out drinking, but we also felt like we weren't spending enough time together,
Oh, interesting.
right? So if I was someone that also wanted to go out drinking, that's a compatibility that doesn't cause any friction. We want the same thing. But if like I want to go to bed really early, you want to go out late drinking, and then you add on to that like feeling like we're not. There are some couples where that's fine because it's like, I don't actually need to see you that much on the weekend, or like
Right.
I'll just have my night, you have your night, like whatever. We're connecting enough outside of that time. But if it's that we have these different lifestyle preferences, and we also feel like our needs are not being met because of these different lifestyle preferences, that creates a lot of friction.
I think that's like a really interesting distinction to like drill in on for a second. Like, it's not that I'm sure a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm not compatible with my partner because we don't have like the same hobby, or like
Right.
like what you're saying, like he wants to go out and drink with his buddies on Friday night and I want to stay in, and we should both want to be staying in,
Right,
it's like
it's not about one being better than the
Right.
other. It's like, if it causes issues between the two of you.
right. But I bet a lot of people make issues of things where it's just like, because there's a difference, they expect that it's some sign of an incompatibility. And what you're saying is it's only if it's like, and we both want to be spending more time with each other, or one of the partners wants to be spending more time together, and then there's like a cost to it.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's why you see some couples where you're like, that's wild that they work. They're so different.
Right.
But it's because it doesn't cause a problem. The
Right.
differences aren't causing friction for whatever reason.
Oh, that's so interesting. All right. Are there other type of incompatibilities?
I also think a huge thing to think about in terms of compatibility is shared values.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that because you say it a lot. And like, what are you thinking about there?
So if I'm someone that really values family,
Right.
and you're someone that really values independence,
Mm-hmm.
what are we going to do every holiday season?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, if I'm like, holidays are what we spend with family, and that's important to me to put in that time, and you're like, holidays are the time I get away from work, and it's when I can finally travel the world, which is the thing that is the most important to me.
Yeah.
That's a ton of friction.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying one value is better than the other value. They're just incompatible often with each other.
So if you have an incompatibility like that, is there a way to work through it?
Well, compromise, right?
Yeah.
And that's the question, is like, certain couples can reach that compromise where it's like, okay, we see my family on Christmas, but we go away for New Year's, and they both can have a certain level of satisfaction with
Yeah.
the compromise. And then there are people where like neither one is ever going to get enough,
I see.
where like it will never, like that the thing is so important to them
Right.
that you can't give enough without one person
And even if you
getting
spend
resentful.
one year doing what one partner wants, and the next Christmas or whatever you spend with the family, and then the following one you go abroad, and vice versa, even if you swap like that, if you're like sitting there stewing when it's not your
Exactly.
year,
Right.
like this is maybe something that a place where you can't get past.
Yeah, and again, like, the thing, something I think about a lot is like, would this just be easier with someone else?
Yeah.
Like, working with couples and individuals, like, yes, there's often good between the two of you, right? There's a reason that these people are together, but it's like, is this harder than it needs to be?
Yeah.
Because of these fundamental incompatibilities.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, I can think back to relationships I've had where it's like so much chemistry, so much laughter, like, and yet it was like also so much fighting and so much friction and like so much negotiating, and like it's not that like the good stuff wasn't worth it at the times, but like long term, if you're going to be in a marriage, like it would have been exhausting to like be a part of that.
And I think that's like brings up the other really important pieces, like what type of life do you want?
Yeah.
Because if I want to live in the city and not have any children and, socialize every night with friends, and you want to live on a farm with 10 kids and be in, in communion with nature all the time, doesn't really matter if we love each other because we can't ever each have the life that we want while we're together.
Right. Unless you're in some kind of remote relationship or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but like a more traditional cohabitating relationship,
yeah.
right? Like, and so that's like the big things to look for is like, what kind of future do we want? And I feel like that's something we align on in some ways.
Yeah.
But there's also like a difference between us is that like I think ideally would want multiple children.
Mm-hmm.
And I only feel comfortable having one.
Right. Yeah, I think that's true. That is a way that we don't align in the future, but I'm also like kind of flexible on that. And also I know that you tell yourself like one of the ways of being with you as your partner is that like you make a lot of like declarative like
no, I don't. I've never done that.
You make a lot of unequivocal statements about the future, about the present, about what you're going to eat that evening. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then it's like a lot of times you're like very, like you change your mind or you're flexible or like, when we were like shopping for houses, like we would walk out of these houses and Allison would be like, that's it. That's our forever home. And then 30 minutes later, she would be like, I never want to see that place ever again. It was disgusting. Like, and so like, I also think that like this pregnancy has been difficult. And like, also you're like in the wake of like this huge trauma with your mom. And so
you don't believe me when I say
I
that.
just think that there's a chance that you will be open to having a second kid. And it's not like if you say no, if you never change your mind, like I'm like, oh, I'm going to leave. That's not going to happen. And so like, I'm secure enough in our relationship and our future that if like you do mean it, that's fine. But I just think that there's like a decent chance that you're going to change your mind.
Oh, that makes me feel like uncomfortable that you don't believe me. That like that there's a part of you that's holding out hope that like I'm just being Allison and that I'm gonna like change my mind, because then like that feels like I'm setting us up for disappointment if I don't.
Well, but what I'm saying is that like I've already made peace with that. If you don't, like I have to be okay with that. Mm-hmm. But like, just like when I first met you, you were like, I never want to have kids.
Well, so that's the thing is like to me having the one kid is us both bending.
Right. But I'm just saying that like, and then for a while there, like you were like hyper into the idea of having a baby. And I would say like even more excited than me. And then like lately it's been the opposite where I'm like super excited and like you're less excited. So like, I don't know. I just think that the future has different possibilities and options and like you are a person who changes your mind. And so.
But I also feel like I acknowledge that. Like, I think especially since my mom died, like when people are like, oh, would you ever like leave LA? It's like, I don't know. Like, would you ever move back to the East Coast? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like very open to the future. Like, I have no set plan of what exactly it will look like. Because I feel like there are too many things that are like up in the air and life is too random.
Mhm.
And, you know, like I actually feel like I have like, as much as I'm like, this is what I'm having for dinner and I shall have it,
Right.
like long-term plans, I'm like, who knows?
So then why are you so rigid about the kid thing?
Because it feels like I'd be giving up like too much of myself. It feels like to have more than one child would require too much sacrifice.
Yeah.
And also financially,
But these things can change, right? Like I just think that like you're unusually rigid about this future thing. Like, and when you're saying like these other things, you're like kind of like, well, we never know what is going to happen. And I think that you are using certainty to get you through this pregnancy and get you through like some pain that you're dealing with. Like if you were like, yeah, I don't know who knows where we'll be financially, who knows what I'll want in, you know, a few years, 4 or 5 years, whatever, you know, whatever, for possibly having a second kid. And then we got there and you were like, yeah, you know, I just don't want to, I just can't do it. That's one thing. But I think like in an odd way, like your certainty about this to me betrays in you like that it's about something else a little bit.
I think a lot of it is about my sister's life
Okay.
and seeing how all-consuming it is to have 2 kids and how her entire life is dedicated to their activities and their sports and then like when there's 2 of them that you never have a moment to yourself.
Yeah.
Because there's always a like, you know, like if we have one kid, it's like, oh, okay, he has soccer practice. Well, I really need an hour to myself, so you take him. If
Mhm.
you have 2 kids, you're both going to soccer practice.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's just less, like there's no wiggle room
Yeah.
for to not be all consumed by this thing that I'm not even sure I'm gonna like.
Yeah. I
But
get that.
But I
Yeah.
also see, yeah, I mean, who knows? But like, I think that's really where it's coming from the most.
I've just noticed it's interesting to see like the barriers or like the declarative statements around children has been like way more than these other things. And like I think there's a lot of like tied up in, yeah, like your sister's experience. And I don't totally, I think this like experience of becoming a mother has been kind of messy for you, like emotionally. And I guess like I'm not sitting here like arguing with you like, no, we have to have 2 kids. I just think that you're going through some things right now, and I'm less certain that your opinions today are going to be your opinions in the future. And I'm like not like banking on it or anything, but I just think, yeah, it just feels like there's a lot going on now, and maybe like your true opinions will be different. I mean, just like to give like a little a little moment like too, where it's like we had a serious conversation when we were dating where like I was making too many jokes about like not wanting to get married and wanting to like leave, and like I'd have this joke for years that I was going to like go west and start a new life or whatever. And you know, as we moved west, LA, like a mile from the beach, like I'm running out of real estate of how far west I can go. But like it started off as a joke, but like it really bothered you because you were like, are you serious or not? Like, are we going to get married or not? And you had a joke that was like, I'm never having kids. Like don't get those disgusting kids near me or whatever. And I was like, well, in my life partner, I want to have children. And so we had this like emotional talk when we were in New York where we were both had to be like us hiding behind these jokes. We have to like strip these apart. And it's like, are we going to get married? Are you serious about marrying me? And I was like, are you serious about like that you never want to have kids because that's something we have to deal with? And I said, yeah, I'm serious about getting married. And we kind of talked about a timeline for that. And you said, yes, I would be, you know, open to having kids. And it was great because it was like we were finally on the same page. And like you had gone from being so steadfast about not wanting to have kids to like your mom had said that she was the same way, and then like she totally changed her mind in the experience of having Jocelyn. And then I went upstairs and Allison was in the shower, and I don't even know if she was there. She knew I was there, but you were you were in the shower rocking an invisible baby and going, "Ooh, I'm gonna have a little baby." And so like I've just like seen your opinion on this like change on a dime. And so I don't know. I'm just like a little skeptical about the certainty that you're proclaiming.
I think something I fear is that you don't know how taxing it's going to be.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, like I sometimes worry about your energy level
Mm.
because you're someone that needs a lot of sleep.
Mhm.
You need a lot of rest. Like you often like if the day is like too hectic, like you really like need to like take a nap.
Yeah.
And I just like worry about like, the stamina that is
Right.
required. Like just the physical and mental stamina
Yeah.
that is required from children.
Right.
And having been around my nieces as they grew up more, you came in later once they were like more
Mhm.
more fully formed, right? Like that like I worry about the toll of that. And so then to do that twice and to have to do twice the emotional and physical and mental energy. Like I just don't know if we have the stamina.
But don't you think this like kind of goes back to where we were talking about earlier about like the plans versus the like improvisation a little bit, where it's like we're gonna find out one way or the other if I have the stamina to have a big kid. Like we don't have a choice. Like we're having this kid, and like and like yeah, like my opinions could change, right? Like I could be like, this is exhausting enough, and like
Right.
and I think this is one is good, and I'm just saying that like our like we're gonna about to go through this like super profound experience that is going to change like our orientation in the world, to ourselves, to each other. Like it's about to like radically change our lives, and the idea that we like come out the other end of that with like some idea of a plan that we like that we set out for before we had him, like seems naive to me. That like we're going to change in all these different types of ways. We're going to have opinions about being parents, about him. We're going to have all the like that
But there's
probably.
also like the reality of like you're going to be in school.
Yeah, like but don't you think that there's just like you think I'm saying that there's a chance that like anything can happen here, and you think that there's no chance, that it's just completely beyond the realm.
No, I'm not saying that I think there's no chance.
Like I think you're
mean,
being too rigid in your
I'm
thinking.
sure I'm being too rigid, but I also think that you aren't taking into account the factors that have led me to this conclusion.
Uh-huh.
Like I think you think it's all primarily fear-based, and I'm sure some of it is.
Yeah.
But I also think there are real logical considerations to have around how different it is to have one child versus two children, and the current status and makeup of our life, and the fact that like you're not even going to get paternity leave because you're going to be in school. Like there's and like like even just like the way you talk about it, where you're like, oh well, yeah, and like I can get all these on the job hours while I'm in school, and I can be working on addition to the classes, and I have to be like, we're gonna have a newborn, like we're gonna like I just think that there's like this sense, like sometimes I feel like the level of toll and like the amount of requirements that a child brings feels like we just have different, like that, because you don't worry about the future like that, because you don't think about like the logistics of things, that it can feel like, yeah, what's another kid? And it's like, what's another kid? It's a lot. Like a lot comes with that. A lot comes with it in terms of like how long we are in that early parent stage. A lot comes with like what it means to be pregnant when you have a toddler. Like there's there's more than just like my irrational fears at play. Although I will give you that there's some of that as well.
Yeah. I just think we're just going to have this like huge trial run with the first one where we're
But
going to like know.
But I don't think that I think that loving our child and loving being parents still doesn't mean that having 2 children is the right choice. Like for me, it's not about like, oh, I'm only having one because I'm not going to like it that much. It's like the lifestyle difference between having one and having 2
Yeah, no,
is
that's what
very
I mean.
different.
That's what I'm saying too. I didn't say
Yeah.
that like, well, we don't like our kids, so we're not gonna have a second one. That's not what I'm saying at all.
But I think you were sort of coming at it like, oh, like you're expecting me to enjoy motherhood more than I think that I am.
I think this is a huge part of our conflict here.
Yeah.
Is that you think that I have these expectations towards you that I don't have.
What
Like
do you mean?
like you just said, you expect that I'm gonna love being a mother more than I like might be.
No, I think you think. No, I'm saying that like I think you recognizing me that I will likely enjoy being a mother more than I fear that I will. And you having that faith in me is actually really helpful.
Oh, good.
And I appreciate that faith.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like I wonder for you if there's then a correlation between how much I enjoy being a mother and then my want to have multiple children. And I think that there's less of a correlation there.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just like, I just know from like, I feel like, probably people will be like, yes, Allison's completely right about the logistic stuff and it's so hard and, et cetera, et cetera. And like, I'm not saying that that's not true or that like, I don't know what I don't know right now. I get that. I'm just saying that like being in a relationship with you, you change your mind constantly, like constantly
Yeah.
on big things. And that your absolute certitude that you will not change your mind on this huge thing when you're changing your mind left and right on everything else seems odd to me. And it just seems like that I think there is a chance you might change your mind.
I'm agreeing with you on that.
Yeah. That's like all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that like, oh, you're going to like motherhood more than you expect, and therefore you're going to want another kid. Or I'm expecting X, Y, and Z to happen, and therefore we'll have another kid. I'm just saying that like I think that your opinions are going to evolve. And it could be in different and unexpected ways, and that my opinions could evolve in unexpected ways. And so I find these like writing in the stone tablet, like rules about the future, to be more about you protecting yourself from something than like me denying like the difficulties of parenthood.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree. What big things have I changed my mind on other than just like which house I liked?
I think stuff around my parents, you've changed your mind around, like whether or not you wanted to like be in contact with them, whether or not you felt comfortable with me being in contact with them, whether or not letting them meet our baby. You've changed your mind a lot, which is understandable because it's like a really confusing topic.
That doesn't feel so much like my personality, though. That feels more like it's about how difficult this situation is to navigate.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying like your opinions evolve and you change your mind. Like I'm also not saying that like you change your mind in some kind of like pathological way where it's like you're just like totally unpredictable because you're constantly.
I guess that's what
it
felt like you were saying.
No. I'm just saying that like you, if anything, I think it's like a credit to you because you often think through things and you think through how you feel and then you change your mind. Like we've had political like debates on like, the few areas that we disagree on. And sometimes you've come to me afterwards and you've said like a day or two later, been like, I thought about it. I think you're right about that. And like, I think that's like a major credit to you, right? That you like thought about something and that like I persuaded you on something and you've persuaded me on things. And so, yeah, like sometimes it's like in a funny way with the houses, because usually on the little things, it is kind of irrational and hilarious. Or, I mean, I would say like choosing a house is actually kind of a big choice, but that one was a little more funny because you just get like caught up in certain
Right.
moments and then you feel really certain and then it wears off and then you think through it and then you change your mind.
Right.
And it's more of just like how dramatic you can be.
And thank God we didn't end up in that house in Silver Lake.
Yeah. Oh my, I can't believe you wanted to go there. It was like the washing machine was outside. I don't know what you were really thinking, but like, yeah. So I think don't view it as like some terrible thing. I think sometimes it's funny and silly and maybe a bit of your personality, but a lot of times I think it's like a good thing.
Yeah. No, because I was like, well, like it's not like I'm gonna be a vegetarian and then a month later I'm not a vegetarian. Like I stuck with being,
But I mean that was actually a huge change, right? Like in the middle of our relationship, you were eating chicken and fish, and then one day you saw a giraffe at the zoo, and this is true, and you cried. Allison broke down crying at how beautiful the giraffe was. And then that night, she addressed her parents and me and said that you weren't living in line with your values by eating any animals, and you had to be a vegetarian.
Well, so the backstory is I was a vegetarian from 8 to 21.
Right. And then you ate, but I'm saying when I knew you.
Yeah, that changed, yeah.
So you've changed your diet in this big values-based way multiple times that had like effects for how I cook and what I eat and like, the people around you. So like, I'm saying, like, I don't think it's crazy to be like, you're changing things left and right. Like, and you're often, like, making proclamations about the change.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, please, Travis.
This is kind of a question within a question, but Allison, do you feel like your OCD might find it difficult to think about the thought of having multiple kids? And that's my first question. And then my second question is, in what ways do you kind of find compatibility in the other in your quirks?
Yeah, I mean, I will distinguish between like mental health symptoms and quirks because I think like OCD takes a huge toll on me, and like I have a lot of quirks, but that to me is different than my OCD symptoms. To answer the first question, my fears are more around my physical health than around my OCD. Like around just being too I think if I was having my first child at 25, it would feel very different than having my first child at 36. I feel like that I'm not interested in raising multiple children while I have physical issues. Like it is one thing to be like tired and to be overwhelmed, but like to be physically in pain or physically unable to do the things that I want to do, like that feels challenging to me in a different way. And so just like is my body in good enough shape to endure 2 pregnancies, 2 little kids? I just don't know.
Okay.
And then in terms of like, does that make sense?
I think so.
And like there are plenty of people that live with like tons of chronic illness and physical disability and who raise multiple children, right? But that is something that they are willing to do. Like they're willing to kind of be in that level of just like I have a lot of fears around physical discomfort.
Yeah.
And maybe that is OCD based, but like, this idea that like I'm just like I have this like, and maybe this was like seeing my mother's body break down. Like, I don't know, like just like I'll see like these parents out with their 8-year-old kid on a bike ride, and it's like, oh, will I be able to like tolerate that? Like, I just don't. I know, like maybe something to examine in therapy. But
Yeah, because that is something that is really interesting about you is like you often talk about the future as you being like this like infirmed, like in a lot of pain, like super disabled, and like it's like possible that that happens, and if it does, like we'll deal with it. But you really do talk about it like it is a fait accompli, and I wonder if that's OCD related or something.
yeah, worth exploring.
Yeah. And so for Travis's second question, what was?
I think one of the main reasons that we're compatible is because of how you handle my OCD.
Oh, interesting.
And because of your empathy and understanding towards it, and that you also hold firm when you need to hold
Yeah.
firm, and that like you make me address it when I need to without it like being like a no tolerance policy.
Yeah.
I think in like a lot of ways our abilities to support each other's mental health stuff is like a lot of what makes this work, and that we
Yeah.
both see the value in medication and therapy and like taking this stuff really seriously.
Yeah.
Like, so that's another thing, right? If like you've struggled with your mental health and you have a partner who doesn't like believe in that stuff,
Yeah.
that's going to be an uphill battle every day of your
Yeah.
life.
When I think about what our most compatible feature is as a couple, I think it's our ability to approach everything with humor.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how dark things have gotten, we can always laugh about it. We'll laugh about like things falling apart for me or things falling apart for you. And like that, not everyone can do that, or everyone finds
Or
like
wants to do
wants
that.
to do that. Yeah, like wants you to be serious in this like dark moment, and I think that is like either just our orientation towards life or our coping mechanism, that it's totally compatible between the two of us. And I imagine like whatever is thrown at us, the fact that we're probably going to laugh at it, even if it's like a train about barreling down, about to kill us, like I like that I can be with someone that's going to be my partner in laughing.
Yeah, I think we both value play
Yeah,
in a
100%.
huge way, that like there's a lot of play in our relationship. And like I said in my wedding vows, like I dance a lot, but like you always join me.
Yeah.
Like we like meet each other at like that level of silliness and goofiness, and it's not like one person just like showing that side of themselves while the other is like, ugh.
Or also like we were recently out with people, and Allison sat down at the dinner table and she was like, should we all talk about what's going on with world politics? Like we had been spending time with them and no one had talked about
It was my dad and his partner.
But like they're very informed and
Yeah.
stuff, but like I guess like I wonder if maybe they talk about it less, or they hadn't been talking about it or something. I don't know. And it's something you and I talk about all the time, and I think that's like another thing. Like some people just like aren't interested in, like we have these like very silly moments, but then we also have these like times where we're like talk intensely about politics, whether sometimes we agree and then sometimes we're like arguing.
Yeah.
And like I think a thing that I love about us is that like I think sometimes people are like, are they like getting into like a like huge fight or something? And it's like it kind of used to maybe go to
Yeah.
those places, but now we're in like a good place where like we can just like agree or disagree and like hear out each other's arguments. And like I don't know, sometimes people budge, sometimes we don't, but it's like really fun to me that we can do that now.
I think it would be very hard for me to be with someone who wasn't political.
Yeah,
Like we talk about politics all the time.
all the time.
And like that's really important to me. But then like we also have like some interests that are different.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're not like doing like you who knows what you're up to on YouTube. You watching a lot of watch videos.
Yeah, I'm watching watch videos.
You're watching a lot of, I mean, we do play tennis
Coffee
together.
videos. Oh yeah.
It's like really, I mean, here's the thing. Do you need to have the exact same hobbies as your spouse? Absolutely not. Is it really nice
Is it awesome?
when they
Yeah.
overlap? Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask a question about how compatibility can evolve,
Mhm.
because like or devolve. Because like I think about like I feel like we're in a pretty good groove with your OCD. Like I push back on you. Sometimes you require things of me. Like like, yeah, like I'm patient in a way that maybe some other people wouldn't be. But when the baby comes, like, I wonder how that will change for both of us, because like I have a lot of hangups around my father accommodating my mother on like her behavior, and that like was probably good for their relationship, like, but ultimately like was terrible for me and Jen, because he didn't like stick up for us. And I that's something I'm worried about, our compatibility, is like how we're going to navigate that together, of like, I don't want our kid to like view the world in terms of like contamination and not contamination, but he's going to live with you, and so like we're going to have to like figure that out somehow.
Yeah, let's wait and see how it plays out, baby. Right? Why try to make a plan right now? We'll see how it goes. I'll use your strategy for this one.
Yeah. Very clever. You're sneaky. You're asking.
But that honestly is my strategy, is like, because I don't know. I mean, there's
Right.
a chance that like my OCD will get much better because like I just don't have time to attend to it.
Right.
And the love for the child overrides the compulsions.
Right.
Which is like partially what happens with the dogs. And then
Right.
there's a chance that like it spikes and I gotta get into like really intense therapy around it. But what I will promise you is that I won't let it get to a point where it feels like you need to protect our son from me.
Yeah. Good. Because I don't want to be put in that position.
And if somehow it does, you just tell me that, and then I will.
Yeah, and that's the difference between those two scenarios. Well, there's a lot of differences between those scenarios, but you're open to self-critique or critique from your partner.
And I get quite a lot of it. Okay, it is time for our final segment, the soon-to-be patented game show, Stay or Leave. And this show,
when is it getting patented?
Soon to be. Don't think too far in the head.
We'll see if the patent comes through.
Yeah, sometimes you get a patent, sometimes you don't. Okay, so this is a game where I present a hypothetical situation to you of something I might do later on in our marriage, and you decide if you would stay or leave me, because marriage is a choice, not a trap.
Agreed.
I decide that it is vitally important to us to have a new hobby together. So without telling you, I sign us up for a 3-month organic chemistry course through the UCLA Extension Program. It is demanding and more academically rigorous than either of us could predicted. But I say that if we don't finish the class and at least each get an A-, it is a sign that we aren't able to navigate hard things together. We have to study upwards of 10 hours a week to have any hope of passing. Would you stay or leave?
If we fail the course, are there repercussions?
We have to take it again. We have to keep taking the course until we at least get an A-.
An A-? Not even like a passing C?
No, an A-.
I like to learn, and I'm like good at school. And so, I'd probably stay.
Organic chemistry?
I know.
This is the reason people don't become doctors.
I know. But I could probably...
You'd use ChatGPT to pass?
Oh, yeah. I could use ChatGPT to pass. I forgot about that. That's true. I could use ChatGPT, and I like to learn, and I like a challenge. I'm competitive. So this kind of plays to some things that I could maybe... And how many weeks is the class?
3 months.
That sucks, but at least it's only 3 months. I think I would stay.
All right. I think I would leave.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. You can watch the full video version featuring Phantom's hilarious haircut on youtube.com/justbetweenus. And if you are thinking, I want to know more about what these two talk about, think about, write about, which is kind of unexpected since we just yapped for an hour, but if you're like, I need even more.
More John and Allison.
You can check out our Substacks. John's is an incredible new Substack all about masculinity and family estrangement and figuring out who you are as a man in today's world, called Wrong Man for the Job.
And Allison's is all about navigating mental health and life and personal essays, and it's amazing. It's called Emotional Support Lady, and it's very popular and has little cartoons.
Yes, if you want to see the extent of my artistic abilities, you can head over there. And if you want to submit your marriage moment, please send us an email at startermarriagepodcast@gmail.com. That's startermarriagepodcast@gmail.com.
And please rate and review our podcast. It really, really, really helps us. So please just take 5 minutes out of your day and rate and review.
5 minutes. 1 minute.
1 minute.
35 seconds.
5 stars. This is the best podcast ever. John is so handsome. Period. Submit.
5 stars. Yes. Well, as we say in our home, good night to me, the Alibaba.
Good night to you, the Alibaba.